Yeah, I mean, we went into halftime asking for more fight, and we got it in the second half, which was good. A lot of unforced turnovers. The momentum swing, especially in that second quarter. And again, like I asked for a response, and the guys got it. And this is where I can't fault them. Like, we got guys like fighting at the moment and really battling through some adversity. And like tonight was a game, right, where you sit there and go, okay, as a secondary ball handler, this is where we kind of missed rain to help, right? Or the Illawarra game is like, we missed Wardenberg. And so when we have the first quarter that we did, where we had some good execution, some real sloppy turnovers, and then we had the second half that we did, you can see the pieces are there. I would have to go back and look at the second quarter, but a lot of the momentum, right, is when the panic sets in, right, for guys that are playing outside of themselves at the moment, some positional base, some minutes and rotations, there's a level of panic where it can be the wrong defensive coverage or the execution on the offensive end. And so that's where, again, like we just need one or two more guys to help with that. We've got 4 guys that play in the high end of 30 minutes. At some point, right, they need a breather. Whether, we're getting fatigued on the defensive end, okay, that's when you make a sub. Or they need one on the offensive end to get a look, that's where we need a sub. And we're right there, which is good, but obviously it doesn't help us get the win tonight.
So you alluded to the turnovers. When you see the margin ends up being 11 points and there's, as you mentioned, probably too many unforced turnovers, does it make you think, you're right there and it's just a couple of things that need to be cleaned up before you're even closer in this game or potentially winning it?
We brought it back to 13, and Angus Glover, and it was a good defensive possession. Angus Glover hits a deep 3, right? Which takes it back out to 16, and there's a little bit of back and forth, and we get it to 14 points, and then there's virtually 4 turnovers in a row. It's Jack with the jump ball, Marcus fumbles it out of court, turnover, Marcus illegal screen, and even wind it back 3 minutes before that, we fouled Geordie Hunter at the 3-point line. So these are all errors where you sit here and go, if you tidy up at least half of those, it's a single-digit game. So we get it back to 14, and there's 4 straight possessions of turnovers, which are just I want to protect Marcus in a sense of going, both these thumbs are taped, right? So he's got one with history of injury and then the other one he dislocated. So, you try and do your job without opposable thumbs, right? So I'm sitting here being critical of him dropping the ball, or, there was one where he should have, dunked it on Sobey, but he went for the layup and he missed it. He's playing hurt right now. And so, but it's still a turnover. It's an easy one for 2. We just need one more dude to come in and help, or ideally 4. But, that's the guys who can be. I can't fault their desire. They're giving me everything they got. They gave a response. Yep, turnovers suck, especially unforced ones. But, it could have easily swung the other way and we lose by 30, 40, 50 again. But they showed a lot of fight.
You mentioned, obviously, rain being out and the lack of that secondary ball handling. Obviously, you're alluding to the fact that, obviously, Drew is having to take on a much bigger role as the primary ball handler. What can you talk to what he's been able to do in that role where he's having to be really ball dominant and control the ball for a lot of the time he's out in the court, and how he's been managing that? Yeah, we got to get him help, right? So, he's making some real good plays for us that we need to finish. He's directing a lot of things out there that it can't just be a one-man show. What he does at practice too, and there's a real turning point for us, again, especially on the offensive side. What Drew's been able to do at practice and being the voice, and he's not. It's not like an inspirational rah-rah leader. It's a guy who says the right thing at the right time, and you just sit there and go, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? It's stating the obvious, but also just providing clarity on what needs to get done, whether it could be the simple talk on defense or rolling hard onto the rim. But he needs help. KG, from your perspective, obviously, Forde's talked just now about, I suppose, the trials and tribulations that you're going through as a team with the injuries and the role adjustments. What's it been like for you as an individual and as a part of the team to go through that, and what's it been like as a group, I suppose?
Obviously, you never want to see those type of injuries and stuff, but it happens like you see it every year. It happens a lot across the league, and especially last season here and this season as well. So it's just, I think I would personally like to see myself, and I know a couple of other guys in the locker room, just come out with more aggression, because like Coach said, sometimes we're not in the spots we're most comfortable in. But I think if we just respond with aggression, like we're all good basketball players. There's nobody that's a bad basketball player in this league. So if we just have confidence in ourselves and play with some aggression like we did in the second half, then I think that would help us out a lot.
Obviously, you come into the side and you lost Sam before the season started, and that's obviously changed up the big rotation with you, and Marcus obviously struggling the low. What's it been like for you, and I suppose you and Marcus working in tandem to fill in that void together as best you can?
It's a bit different because Sam brings a lot of things all over the court that we need to play. And me and Marcus are two very different players. So I think we've been good at trying to maximize our strengths and play the way that we can to try and make up for it instead of trying to be Sam.
Any questions on Zoom?
Yeah, sure. Kyrin, Forde touched on it about how at half-time this had the potential of being one of those 30, 40, 50-point losses, but you showed a lot of heart in the second half. How much as a playing group can you take out of the fight that you showed and end up winning that second half?
It's good to see, but it's also frustrating because it feels like if we would have just came out that way at the beginning of the game, then we would have won, But it's good to see that there's some teams I've been on before that you come into halftime and you kind of have the feeling that the game's already gone, and it's good to see that we didn't let that happen.
Forde, looking into Sunday, the schedule is potentially going to hurt you again, where it's a big trip to get to Adelaide on a Sunday afternoon game, but I'm sure you're not looking for excuses. What are your thoughts on that clash?
Yeah, I mean, we sit here and we talk about, the extra help that we need, and we're not going to get that definitely in the next week or two. And so recovery is going to be big. The boys are going to do the best they can to roll into a tough venue that has, picked up another American, and we're going to roll in with the same 6.5 7-man rotation. Whether I need the guys to fight, that's the message, right? We don't want to roll over. We don't want to have an excuse of why we should be defeated before the game even starts. I'll back the dudes that want to fight and compete. And again, we don't plan on missing layups. We don't plan on forcing bad turnovers. But I need you guys to commit to every possession, especially on the defensive end. And, again, the group, they feel it, they sense it, they know it. The talk is good. The film review, everything we do is good. So I don't fear that, we are going to show that spirit. But we just need to make sure we got some bodies right now that are playing through some stuff that we keep going for at least 2 more games.
Just one player I wanted to get your thoughts on. Lockie Barker, he's waited for this opportunity in the league for a long time. He's been banging down the door, and now he's starting for you. And he's a capable scorer, and he can give you a little bit more offensively. But out of your starters, he's got your best plus minus for this game, and I thought he's giving you a fair bit. Do you like what he's providing?
Yeah, I got on him a little bit too. I felt like he showed, he turned down some things in the turnover before the quarter break, and he turned down a shot, and he can be better. Like, this is when we talk about, there's these opportunities right now that you can capitalise on now. When we come back full strength, is someone else going to pick you up? Are you going to be employed? This is your moment, right, to stay relevant, or you fall by the wayside. So, again, Lockie's been super serviceable, and I want more from him. But also, he's competing and fighting for everything. So I'll appreciate always giving the opportunity as long as he keeps doing that. Same with a few of the other guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And Jai, just quickly.
Forde, with the obviously being down 25 in the first half, the mental challenge it must be for the team and everything at half time, then to then come out and outscore 51-37, and hit 12 threes in the first half, and then you hold them to 2 to 13 in the second half. Can you just go over just like what discussions you're having with your team at halftime to come out like that in the second half?
They're a good group. Like, this is not a group that's sulky and quitting on each other. And the talk is there. They see it. We just need help. Like, we've got, and again, I'll keep harping on it, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 guys that play high 30 minutes. I've got another 2, 3 guys that played high teens. You know, Marcus fouled out. South East rotate 8, and so when we're subbing on DPs and injury replacement players, they're subbing on guys with NBA experience. Like, we just need an extra body just to help, and especially when you see the momentum swing, and let's say it's Drew's getting tired, Lockie's a little bit under duress. I need a secondary ball handler. You know, Mo was great, but Mo's a wing, right? So that's where it's raining. It's a good group, and this is why I feel confident that after the FIBA break, when we got everybody back, and we virtually will have everybody back December 6th, fuck it, like, let's go for a swing, right? Like, this is, would I'd love to have a couple more wins under our belt? Sure, but we don't have that luxury. So are we just going to talk about what could have been, or do we make a legitimate run at it? And, there's no reason why we can't come December 6th when everybody's here. Like, let's go. But we've got 2 more games till then. I just need to keep getting this fight from the group, and I have no doubt they'll rise to the occasion.
Good, thanks. Kyrin, just one question for you, mate. So there was a play around halfway to the third quarter where, leading up to that, I felt like the Cairns team as a whole, because you guys were down at halftime, you started to come back. There wasn't a lot of vocal energy coming from a lot of the players, and then Mahab King was getting frustrated. He finally got some free throws, and he kind of let out a bit of a war cry and kind of screamed, and that kind of brought energy in the team. I don't think you were on the court at the time, but is that type of reaction from someone from what I see is a very passive aggressive guy? Do you take anything from that?
I think it fired up the crowd a bit and brought the crowd into it, because, like you said, it kind of, the feeling in the building was kind of like we're in a hole at halftime. So I think that was definitely a bit of a spark just to get the crowd involved, and obviously the bench as well.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.